Good evening, my dear friend, and welcome to Whispers of the Night. Tonight, let's take a slow, quiet journey together, just you and me, into a place that feels both ancient and gentle. Imagine standing at the foot of a mountain, its peaks brushing the softest clouds, its slopes wrapped in the hush of early evening. The air is calm, carrying a faint whisper of wind through the trees, and somewhere far off, a small stream hums a steady lullaby. Let your eyes rest on the shapes of the rocks, the curve of the hills, the way light settles on the earth, as if it remembers everything it has seen. With each breath, feel yourself settling deeper, letting the world slow around you. Tonight, on Whispers of the Night, we step into the life of a mountain that has held countless stories in its quiet, steady heart. There's no rush here, only the gentle turning of time, the soft weight of memory, and the calm that comes from knowing some things always remain. Let's step closer, softly, and listen to what the mountain has to tell. Let's take a slow, deep breath together, inhaling calm and exhaling any tension. Let your body sink softly into comfort, feeling supported and safe. Imagine the gentle slopes of a mountain, its peaks brushing golden sunlight, and the wind whispering through quiet trees. Each leaf, each rock, each tiny stream is alive with gentle movement, inviting your mind to rest. Feel the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the soft rustle of leaves overhead, the calm rhythm of nature flowing all around you. With each breath, let your thoughts drift like clouds over the mountain's slopes. You are safe, you are held, you are welcome here. Let the hush of the wind, the quiet trickle of water, and the faint scent of pine guide you into gentle relaxation as you breathe. Take a moment to subscribe to Whispers of the Night for more soothing stories. And let yourself return anytime to this calm world where the mountain remembers everything and cradles every memory in its heart. Feel the soft rhythm of your body, the slow pulse of life in harmony with the mountain. Let it remind you, being still is enough, being present is enough, and you are exactly where you need to be tonight. The life of a mountain that remembered everything. Whispers of Stone. There is a mountain, tall and quiet. Tonight, I want you to imagine it with me, as if we are standing at the edge of its shadowy base, letting the cool morning mist curl softly around our ankles. The air here is different, it is lighter, somehow, as if it carries the slow heartbeat of the earth itself. Every breath you take seems to mingle with the soft, lingering scent of pine and damp stone, a calm perfume that fills the lungs without hurry. Can you feel it? That gentle hush, like the world has paused just long enough for us to notice. The mountain rises steadily, its slopes reaching into the sky, their edges softened by countless seasons of wind, rain, and quiet sunlight. From here, the peaks are cloaked in a silvery fog, and it seems almost as though the clouds themselves have come to rest upon the mountain's shoulders. Look closer, and you might notice the way the light shifts on its rocks, brushing one ridge with a golden warmth, while another remains shaded, cool, and inviting. The wind whispers through the trees at its base, a subtle hum, almost like a song that the mountain has been carrying for centuries. It is not a song of hurry or alarm, but of memory, an old, patient melody that holds everything the mountain has seen and felt. If you let your eyes wander slowly across the slopes, you will begin to see small signs of life, quiet traces that tell of those who have wandered here before. A fox's trail weaves through the undergrowth, almost hidden, yet unmistakably present. The soft impression of tiny paws pressed into damp earth. A stream trickles down from the upper slopes, its water clear and cool, slipping between smooth stones with a gentle, steady murmur. Sometimes, when the sun catches the surface just right, the water glows faintly, as though the mountain itself is reflecting its own quiet heartbeat in tiny droplets. And somewhere, perhaps, a bird shakes its wings and takes to the air, its soft call echoing against the rocks and fading into the wind like a secret. The mountain has held for years. The mountain remembers all of it. Every ripple of water, every whispering breeze, every creature that has found shelter among its rocks. Even the footprints of people remain here, though they may be hidden beneath moss and fallen leaves now. Look closely at one smooth rock near the trail, and you may see initials etched into its surface. Simple, delicate mark left by a child long ago, tracing their small hand along the stone in quiet wonder. The mountain knows these little things, notices them without judgment, and keeps them safe as though they were tiny treasures, too gentle to be forgotten. And the mountain listens. Oh, how it listens. The rustling of the leaves is a conversation. It has carried through decades. The humming wind is a chorus of voices, some human, some animal, some of the forest itself. You can almost feel the patience in the mountain, the calm certainty that life will continue, season by season, year by year. Its presence is not sharp or demanding. It does not call attention to itself in a hurry. It simply is, and in being, it allows everything else to unfold, soft and unhurried. If we were to walk along one of its paths, we might find ourselves tracing the edges of its slopes, slowly, feeling the texture of the stones beneath our fingertips, noticing the tiny flowers that cling to the cliff sides with a quiet determination. There is a richness here that does not rush. Even the simplest details become a gentle delight. The way moss curls over a rock, the glint of sunlight on a dewdrop, the faint shadow of a bird passing overhead, of these things become part of the mountain's memory. They are stitched into its being, layer upon layer, like soft blankets folded carefully one atop another. The forest at the base adds its own quiet magic to the scene. Ancient trees stand with trunks thick and gnarled, their roots entwining in a secret network beneath the soft, leaf-covered soil. The branches sway slowly with the wind, creating a rhythm almost like a heartbeat, steady and calm. Occasionally, a leaf detaches and floats lazily to the ground, turning once, twice before landing softly on the moss below. Birds nest in the crooks of higher branches, their feathers glinting in dappled light. And sometimes a small animal, perhaps a squirrel or a rabbit, peeks from behind a tree, curious yet unhurried, as if it too knows the rhythm of this place. Even the air itself seems to carry stories. If you close your eyes for a moment, you might hear echoes of voices long past, laughter carried by the wind, the faint singing of someone wandering the slopes, perhaps even the gentle murmur of a stream that once brought water to travelers. These are not harsh echoes, not urgent or frightening in any way. They are soft, like a lullaby, reminders of the mountain's long and patient watch. The mountain has kept them all, remembering them not as moments that demand attention, but as gentle companions, pieces of a quiet, ongoing story that continues with each passing season. As we trace our gaze higher, we might notice the peaks of the mountain stretching beyond the clouds, bathed in a gentle glow as the sun climbs slowly overhead. The snowcaps, if any, remain, shimmer faintly, glinting like tiny diamonds under the early light. Even these distant, elevated slopes feel alive, carrying their own silent memories. Storms that swept through in winter, the soft fall of blossoms in spring, the quiet stillness of evening settling over rock and ice alike. All of it remembered, held, and cherished. The mountain is patient. It waits, it watches, it listens, and it remembers. Every footstep, every whispered word, every quiet song that has graced its slopes is stored somewhere deep within its bones, within the folds of stone and soil and water. And in this remembering, it becomes more than a mountain. It becomes a gentle witness, a quiet companion for anyone who chooses to step into its world. If we were to sit here for a while, we might begin to notice how small the world seems in comparison, yet how full of gentle detail it is. The sound of a stream becomes a soft melody, the rustling of leaves a soothing rhythm, and even the smallest flowers seem to glow with their own quiet presence. Time stretches here, not as something to be measured, but as something to be felt. Moments lengthen and breathe, carrying us slowly forward along the mountain's gentle slopes, guiding us with the soft hand of memory. Perhaps now, as we take a slow step along a winding path, we notice the light changing again, filtering through clouds in soft, muted golds and grays. Shadows stretch and blend with the forest floor, creating shapes that are familiar yet new, like memories we almost remember. A fox might dart from behind a tree, pausing just long enough to regard us with curious eyes before disappearing silently into the underbrush. All around, the mountain holds us in its quiet presence, reassuring us that we are safe, that there is no hurry, and that we are free to wander slowly through its remembered world. And as we walk, the mountain seems to breathe with us. The wind rises gently, passing through the trees and over rocks, carrying with it a soft chorus of scents and sounds. You can feel the coolness of stone beneath your hand, the faint warmth of sunlight on your face, and the tender hush that exists in every corner of this place. It is a mountain that remembers everything, not in a busy, cluttered way, but in a quiet, deliberate, patient way, like an old friend who listens to everything you have to say, without judgment, without urgency. Every little trace of life is preserved here, a carved initial in stone, a paw print in the soft earth, The gentle ripple of water across a rock hall of it is stored in the mountain's memory, safe and eternal. It is as if the mountain is keeping a storybook of the world, and each creature, each human, each moment is a page turned carefully, read slowly, and held tenderly within the folds of its being. And so, as we pause here for a moment, looking across the slopes and listening to the gentle hum of wind and water, the mountain invites us deeper into its world. It asks only that we notice, that we breathe, that we feel the soft passage of time around us, and that we allow ourselves to become part of its calm, steady presence. There is no rush here, only the gentle rhythm of life remembered, and the promise of countless stories waiting quietly in the folds of rock, soil, and forest. Soon, if we continue along the slopes, the mountain will begin to share one of these memories more vividly, a glimpse into a moment long ago, captured and kept within its gentle heart. But for now, we simply walk, quietly, slowly, letting the mist curl around us. The wind hums softly in our ears, and the sunlight kisses the rocks just enough to warm our cheeks. We are not just observing the mountain, we are listening, we are breathing, and we are becoming part of a world that remembers everything, patiently, lovingly, and calmly. And so, hand in hand with this quiet giant, we step forward, feeling the weight of history in its gentle slopes, and allowing ourselves to drift deeper into the first story it wishes to share. A memory that waits just beyond the bend, soft and warm, ready to welcome us fully into the mountain's quiet, watchful heart. The first memory. Let's step gently into the mountain's memory. A morning that happened long ago, when the forest below was young and soft, filled with the tender hum of life. Close your eyes for a moment, if you like, and imagine the air still cool with dawn, carrying the faint scent of moist earth and growing leaves. The light here is different, soft, golden, as though the sun itself is stretching slowly awake, brushing the treetops with a gentle touch, letting each leaf shimmer in a delicate dance. You can hear it, soothe the quiet stirrings of the forest. Somewhere nearby, water slips over stones in a small, clear stream, singing a steady, soothing song that winds through the woods, reflecting both the light above and the patience of the mountain that watches it all. As we step into this memory, we see the forest alive in ways both grand and tiny. Tiny mushrooms peek from between tufts of moss, their caps glistening with dew. Ferns unfurl slowly, curling inwards like gentle waves, and the wind whispers through the branches with a tender hum. A pair of birds take flight together, their wings brushing the air softly, leaving faint echoes that dissolve into the hush of leaves. And on a narrow path, a young deer pauses at the stream's edge, its eyes reflecting the calm of the water, its hooves barely making a sound on the soft soil. The mountain notices every detail, every little movement, as if it were a quiet teacher, showing us how to see, how to feel, how to belong. The sunlight warms the rocks and soil unevenly, falling in soft patches that create a gentle patchwork of light and shadow. Some areas remain cool and shaded, inviting rest, while others glow warmly, encouraging small creatures to linger. A family of rabbits hops cautiously through the underbrush, their fur catching tiny beams of sunlight as they move. Bees hum lazily over clusters of wildflowers, dipping gently from bloom to bloom, their wings shimmering in the morning haze. Even the rocks seem alive, smooth surfaces dotted with moss and tiny lichen, holding memories of seasons long past, patiently waiting for any traveler who might notice them. In this memory, the mountain does not merely observe, it feels. It senses the warmth of the sun on a leaf, the coolness of the stream as it twists around roots, the quiet curiosity of animals moving slowly through their home. There is no hurry here. The mountain is patient and kind, and its presence is a gentle reminder that every moment, no matter how small, carries significance. Each sound, each glimmer of light, each movement becomes part of a quiet symphony, stitched together into a calm, slow rhythm that fills the forest with life and with wonder. Near the stream, a fawn lifts its head, ears twitching as it senses the soft movement of the wind. The water ripples lightly beneath its reflection, creating a dance of light that mirrors the gentle sway of the branches above. A fox watches from a distance, its coat a rich auburn blending into the forest floor, curious but careful, learning the ways of this young world without haste. The mountain feels the delicate balance of these early mornings, noticing how each creature, each leaf, and each gust of wind belongs exactly where it is, exactly as it is. The feeling of belonging is gentle and warm. As we watch the forest come, alive with small motions and quiet songs, there is a sense that everything here is connected. The water, the rocks, the animals, and even the mountain itself. Even the smallest details matter. A pebble resting in the moss, the subtle vibration of a branch as a bird lands, the delicate drip of condensation from leaves high above. These details are not urgent, but they are alive, whispering that life continues in ways both visible and hidden. And in this, the mountain remembers not only the scene, but the feeling, the sense of wonder, the soft curiosity, the quiet joy of being alive in a gentle, unfolding world. The day slowly stretches forward, and the sunlight strengthens, warming the stones and the forest floor. A gentle breeze stirs, carrying the scent of pine and fresh grass, brushing softly across our cheeks, as if the forest itself is breathing. Somewhere in the distance, the faint murmur of a stream carries across the clearing, joining the soft rustle of leaves and the hum of insects, creating a calm melody that seems to echo in every corner of the mountain. The mountain, patient as always, listens to each sound, remembers each detail, and holds it with tender care. And here, in this memory, we begin to notice something even more remarkable. The mountain remembers feelings as much as events. It knows the calm curiosity of the deer pausing at the stream, the quiet thrill of the fox as it explores a sun-dappled path, the gentle warmth of sunlight on mossy rocks, and the soft hush of the forest at dawn. These are not fleeting thoughts. They are companions, echoes of moments that the mountain carries quietly within itself. It does not judge them or rush them. It simply holds them, allowing each one to exist fully, like a note sustained in a long, soft song. As the morning deepens, Clouds drift lazily across the sky, casting gentle shadows that shift slowly over the forest. Sunlight filters through the leaves, painting the ground with moving patterns of gold and green. A butterfly flutters past, its wings translucent in the light, coming close enough that we can see the delicate veins, then drifting away again. Following the wind, the mountain notes these tiny, fleeting wonders with care, as if each one were a whispered secret, meant to be treasured and remembered. Time passes slowly in this memory, measured not by hours, but by the gentle unfolding of life. The fawn drinks quietly at the stream, while the rabbits nibble on tender shoots nearby. Birds call softly from above, their melodies weaving into the hum of the wind and the water. The fox pads along a hidden trail, nose to the ground, taking in the scents of flowers, leaves, and earth. And through it all, the mountain remains still and patient, a quiet guardian of the forest, listening and remembering every sound, every movement, every soft shimmer of life. Even as the sun climbs higher, the mountain does not tire. Its eyes are not like ours, yet it sees more than we ever could. The first snowdrops poking through a shaded patch of moss, the gentle bend of a branch heavy with morning dew, the subtle flicker of light on a distant rock. It remembers these small details, not because they are extraordinary, but because they exist, quietly and fully, and each one carries its own gentle story. As the afternoon begins to lean toward evening, the golden light softens, spreading across the forest in a warm, mellow glow. The mountain senses the calm of the day fading gently into night. Birds settle into their nests, the deer wanders slowly back into the cover of trees, and the fox curls softly in a hidden nook, its fur warming under the last sunbeams. The stream ripples more quietly now, reflecting the deepening colors of the sky, and the breeze carries a soft, comforting chill that hints at the approaching dusk. The mountain holds this transition with quiet reverence, sensing the soft ending of one day and the gentle promise of another. And as the memory begins to fade, the mountain keeps it alive within its heart, a soft treasure it can revisit whenever the wind whispers or the sun shifts across the slopes. It remembers the gentle curiosity of the creatures, the tender warmth of sunlight, and the soothing rhythm of a forest at peace. These memories are companions, not lost, but carried along, quietly shaping the mountain's sense of time and place. They are a reminder that even the smallest, simplest moments, like a fawn drinking at a stream or a butterfly gliding past, are worthy of attention, worthy of love, worthy of quiet remembrance. In the hush of evening, as shadows stretch and blend with the fading light, the mountain begins to sense something new on the horizon. Long after the animals have settled and the forest has grown still, the mountain remembers the people who will one day walk its paths. It senses laughter and voices that have not yet come, but that will one day mingle with the soft music of wind and water. These voices, too, will become part of the mountain's memory, gentle companions to the forest, to the stones, to the very heart of the mountain itself. And so, as we step softly back from this memory, leaving the young forest to its quiet calm, we feel the warmth of belonging, the soft thrill of curiosity, and the gentle assurance that the mountain carries these moments with patience and love. Every sound, every rustle, every shimmer of light is preserved here, remembered and held as part of a long, slow song that stretches across centuries. The sun dips lower now, casting long shadows over mossy rocks and quiet streams. The wind carries the faint, echoing hum of life, soft and warm, like a lullaby for the world. The mountain, patient as ever, keeps this memory safe, ready to share it again whenever it wishes, while also preparing for the next stories, the next companions, the next voices that will wander its slopes. And as evening falls, we follow its gentle invitation, ready to meet new memories that wait just beyond the bend. We are not rushed. We walk slowly, feeling the hush of the forest, the lingering warmth of the day, and the soft presence of a mountain that remembers not just events, but feelings, the tender, patient joy of simply being alive and of noticing the small, perfect wonders all around us. It is here, in this quiet, glowing forest, with sunlight soft and wind gentle, that the mountain's first memory draws to a close, leaving us with a sense of warmth and wonder and a gentle curiosity about the friendships and voices that will soon emerge, carrying us softly toward the next chapter of its long, remembering life. Voices in the wind. The mountain has stood through countless seasons, yet some mornings feel as if the world is still discovering its quiet presence. Today, let us step softly along its slopes, where sunlight drifts in tender beams between the trees, and the air is fragrant with wildflowers that bend gently in the breeze. The forest at the base hums with life, not hurried, not loud, but alive in the slow, careful rhythm of existence. Moss carpets the stones beneath our fingers, soft and cool, while tiny streams trickle quietly along worn paths, reflecting the gold and green of leaves that sway above us. And here, amidst this gentle beauty, the mountain remembers the people who have wandered its slopes, voices and footsteps that have mingled with the quiet heartbeat of the land. Long ago, a group of travelers passed along one of the gentler trails, their boots pressed lightly into the soft soil, their voices subdued, carrying the calm curiosity of those who walk not to conquer, but to feel, to breathe, to belong. A young woman paused to rest on a moss-covered rock, brushing her fingers along the cool surface as she traced its textured grooves, letting the touch anchor her to this moment. A soft smile played on her lips as she inhaled the mingling scents of pine, wildflowers, and damp earth. The mountain noticed these things, the tilt of her head, the slow exhale as she breathed, the way her presence seemed to hum in gentle conversation with the forest itself. Nearby, a storyteller, perhaps an old villager or a wandering bard, knelt by the edge of a stream, her voice a quiet murmur that drifted into the trees. She spoke softly, telling a tale of distant valleys and distant rivers, of small creatures who dared to explore the world with bravery tucked into their tiny hearts. Her words did not race. They floated lazily, curling around rocks and reeds, brushing the leaves of trees and the soft backs of curious animals peeking from their hiding spots. The mountain remembered her voice long after she had moved on, carrying it in the cool hush of the air, blending it with the soft hum of wind over stone. A group of children wandered further along the trail, their laughter a gentle ripple rather than a crashing wave. They chased butterflies that flitted above the streams, their hands reaching carefully, brushing past the air without breaking its calm. One child knelt by a patch of clover, observing a ladybug crawling slowly across a leaf, marveling at its delicate movements. The mountain could feel the warmth of their small hearts, the joy in their quiet discoveries, the tender awe that came with noticing even the tiniest details of life. Their presence was soft, light, and fleeting, yet the mountain held it all, storing the echoes of small feet on stone, the gentle brush of hands through grass, and the quiet sparkle of laughter caught in sunlight. The wind carries these voices further, rustling the leaves above, and the mountain feels them in its very stones. A shepherd's bell rings in the distance, its chime steady and warm, bouncing along the slopes with a calm certainty. Nearby, a family passes along a hidden path, their conversation gentle, their hands brushing against the ferns and brambles that line the trail. Each step, each whispered word, is a memory etched into the folds of stone and soil, weaving into the mountain's own reflection. The mountain remembers not just the sounds or sights, but the feeling of shared presence, the warmth of being together in a place both alive and still. A painter, seated on a sloping rock bathed in sunlight, dips a brush into colors that mirror the forest, deep greens, warm golds, and subtle browns that ripple into the stream's reflection. Each stroke is slow, careful, deliberate. He pauses to watch a dragonfly skim across the water, its wings catching the light like tiny windows to another world. The mountain notices the quiet reverence in his gestures, the care with which he translates a living forest into lines and colors, capturing not only its shapes but its gentle, slow rhythm. Here, too, the mountain learns the language of observation, the deep, patient joy of noticing life in its softest forms. The sunlight shifts as the day moves forward, brushing against the peaks and glinting off distant stones. Shadows stretch across the paths, and the leaves above twist slowly in the breeze. Each moment is measured not by clocks, but by the gentle pulse of nature, the dipping of sunlight, the movement of a leaf, the quiet stir of a deer stepping through the underbrush. A family of squirrels rustles in the branches, their tiny claws barely disturbing the bark, yet adding their own melody to the chorus of life. The mountain notices each nuance, each small detail, and carries it patiently, blending human presence with the natural world in a quiet symphony of remembrance. Later, as afternoon drifts toward evening, a lone traveler pauses atop a smooth rock, gazing out over a valley bathed in soft light. His eyes catch the shimmer of a distant stream, the sway of wildflowers, the gentle curve of hills rolling into the horizon. He breathes deeply, letting the cool air fill his lungs, and in that quiet inhale, the mountain feels the presence of someone truly aware of the world. The traveler reaches down to touch the moss beneath him, feeling its texture, its cool softness. And the mountain remembers this connection, human hands brushing against stone and soil. A simple act that speaks volumes to the gentle attention of one soul. A few steps away, two children follow a trail lined with flowering bushes, stopping occasionally to watch bees drift lazily from blossom to blossom. Their whispers are soft and sweet, carried by the breeze, mingling with the rustle of leaves and the distant chime of the shepherd's bell. They are learning, exploring, noticing small miracles, the shimmer of sunlight on a spider's web, the subtle tilt of a mushroom toward the sun, the curve of a stream as it slips over rounded stones. The mountain listens to them, holding their curiosity as one would hold a delicate bird, soft and unhurried as the sun begins to dip lower, painting the slopes with long, warm shadows. The visitors slow their steps. A storyteller closes her small book of tales, her fingers brushing the edges as if to say farewell, and the children gather a few fallen leaves, treasures to carry home, their laughter now quieter, gentler as evening settles. Even the traveler rises from his rock, stretching softly before continuing along a winding path. All of these movements are gentle, rhythmic, like notes in a slow song, and the mountain remembers each one as part of its long, enduring story. In the quiet spaces between footsteps and voices, the mountain feels the warmth of presence linger. It remembers not only the sights and sounds, but the emotions, small moments of wonder, brief flashes of connection, the quiet joy of being together or alone, immersed in the living world. The rustling of the leaves seems almost like applause, a soft celebration of attention and care, of noticing life with tenderness and respect. Even when the day begins to fade, the mountain holds these feelings close, like lanterns glowing softly in the forest dusk. A light breeze stirs now, carrying the final echoes of the day. Children's whispered farewells, the faint murmur of a storyteller's voice, the soft patter of distant footsteps over rocks and moss. The mountain listens, storing them carefully in its memory, each one a thread in the tapestry of presence it has woven across the slopes. Shadows deepen, and the sun's warmth lingers only in patches on rocks and moss, a gentle reminder of the day's slow passing. The mountain, ever patient, holds these fragments of life with quiet reverence, knowing that they are part of the living world, small, tender, and significant. As evening settles fully, the first stars appear above the peaks, tiny points of light shimmering through the darkening sky. The forest below hums softly in response. A deer steps quietly from the trees. Insects chirp gently, and the last birds settle into their nests. The travelers' voices have faded, yet the mountain still feels them, like ripples in water that linger long after the stone has been thrown. It remembers the warmth of companionship, the gentle curiosity of young hearts, and the quiet awe of those who pause to see the world with care. And in this calm, the mountain senses something beyond what is immediately visible. The wind carries voices farther into a hidden valley, whispering of friendships yet to blossom, of voices that will mingle in soft laughter, of gentle connections that linger longer than the passing day. It is not a rush of suspense, but a quiet curiosity, a gentle invitation to wonder about what else this world holds. The mountain holds this promise tenderly, blending past, present, and the faint hint of future encounters into its patient, steady memory. We leave this moment now, lingering at the edge of the slopes as shadows deepen and a silver light touches the peaks, the memory of the travelers, of children chasing butterflies, of storytellers' murmured tales, drifts softly into the folds of the mountain's being. It is held carefully, lovingly, a companion to the rocks, the streams, and the whispering wind. And as night draws closer, the mountain readies itself to remember another kind of presence, one filled with warmth, laughter, and bonds of care that stretch across time, soft and unhurried, waiting to be felt in the next chapter of its quiet, remembering heart. A season of songs. The mountain remembers a day, unlike most, one when the slopes below its craggy peaks were filled not only with the quiet rustle of leaves and the hum of streams, but with music, laughter, and the soft warmth of a village, celebrating the passing of summer. The forest at its base had turned gold and amber with autumn, the leaves catching sunlight that spilled in gentle, glowing streams between the branches. Each leaf seemed to shimmer like a tiny lantern in the wind, drifting down slowly, brushing against the earth with soft, deliberate care. The air smelled sweet with the faint smoke of hearth fires and the rich scent of baked bread carried from the village below. Even from this high vantage, the mountain could feel the joy of the day, the gentle pulse of human hearts mingling with the steady, patient rhythm of the earth. Children ran along the narrow paths that wound between mossy rocks and tall trees, their laughter soft yet clear, carrying across the slopes and mingling with the hum of the wind. Their small hands reached out to touch leaves, to brush the moss from stones, to twirl in open clearings as if the golden sunlight were theirs alone to dance with. The mountain noticed the sparkle in their eyes, the careful way they moved, never rushing yet exploring fully, marveling at the simple wonders around them. Their voices blended with the rustle of autumn leaves, creating a melody that seemed to rise from the forest floor itself. A group of villagers gathered near a wooden pavilion that had been built for the festival, its rough-hewn beams catching the last warm rays of sunlight. Soft melodies floated from wooden instruments, flute, a small drum, a stringed lyre played with tender care. The music was not loud, not urgent, but steady and comforting, weaving around the trees, threading between the golden leaves, and settling over the rocks like a gentle blanket. The mountain listened to every note, noticing the subtle quiver of the strings, the tender breath drawn by the flute player, the soft tap of the drumstick against the wood. Every sound became part of the mountain's memory, a quiet joy stitched into stone and soil. Families moved slowly between the paths and the pavilion, carrying small lanterns whose flames swayed in the gentle autumn breeze. The soft, light-painted, warm, golden circles on the ground and on the faces of those wandering past, reflecting the laughter in children's eyes and the quiet smiles of those who had paused to listen to the music. A baker from the village, carrying a tray of warm bread, walked carefully along the uneven path, the scent drifting into the air, mingling with the aroma of wildflowers and the earthy richness of fallen leaves. The mountain held these details with patient care, noting the gentle sway of the baker's steps, the way sunlight caught the edges of each loaf, the contented sigh as villagers tasted the first warm crumbs. In a small clearing, a storyteller spoke softly to a circle of children, their heads tilted toward her in quiet attention. Her voice rose and fell in tender rhythm, weaving tales of faraway hills, of rivers that shimmered in the moonlight, and of gentle creatures who roamed forests just like this one. The mountain remembered her words, not as mere sound, but as a feeling, a quiet wonder, a sense of belonging, a soft pulse of excitement that never hurried, that lingered like a warm hand resting on the shoulder. Even the animals of the forest, a fox peering from behind a tree, a deer paused at a distant stream, seemed to pause with her, caught in the calm cadence of her story. Sunlight shifted gently over the slopes, slipping through branches to illuminate small wonders hidden in shadow. A squirrel paused mid-leap, its bushy tail catching a stray sunbeam. A cluster of mushrooms glowed faintly where the light hit just right. The children's laughter mingled with the soft chime of a shepherd's bell in the distance, each sound layered like threads in a tapestry that stretched across the entire mountainside. The mountain remembered the sensation of the Datha, warm light, the gentle breezes, the soft hum of life in rhythm with itself. Even the smallest moments, the fleeting smiles, the tender gestures, were captured and held within the folds of stone and soil. As the festival moved slowly through the day, the music softened and the children's games became quieter. Some had wandered off to examine streams and rocks, fingers brushing moss and cool water, marveling at the patterns left behind by rainfall, or the delicate shimmer of sunlight on a small dragonfly's wings. The mountain felt the contentment in these tiny acts, the quiet curiosity that needed no words, only gentle observation and the soft joy of discovering the living world. Adults paused beside trees, resting their hands on rough bark, inhaling the earthy aroma of leaves and soil, sharing smiles that needed no explanation as afternoon leaned toward evening. Lanterns were lit along the village paths, their gentle glow mirrored by the amber light through the autumn trees. Children held them carefully, their small fingers warm against the wooden handles, walking with quiet reverence as if carrying something precious. The soft flicker of flame painted delicate shadows across rocks and moss, lending the forest a sense of magic, subtle and calm, as if even the trees themselves were leaning closer to see the gentle celebration unfold. The mountain watched, remembering how small lights and quiet laughter can fill a space with lasting warmth, a gentle sense of connection that lingers long after the festival ends. Near the pavilion, the musicians now played slower, softer melodies, notes floating in the crisp air like drifting leaves. The storyteller's voice had joined the lull of wind, the soft thrum of the drum echoing against stones, blending seamlessly with the rustle of branches. It was a moment of shared presence where humans, animals, and the mountain itself existed, together in calm harmony. The mountain remembered not only the melodies and laughter, but the feeling of contentment and wonder, the quiet joy that arises when being fully present in a gentle, living world. The sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in shades of rose, amber, and soft purple. Shadows lengthened over the slopes, stretching along the paths, past the rocks and streams, until the light itself seemed to pause in awe of the mountain's enduring quiet. Children's footsteps softened as they drifted home or paused near the stream, fingers trailing in water, watching ripples spread outward. Adults lingered near lanterns, sharing quiet conversation, the faint scent of warm bread lingering in the cooling air. The mountain held it all, the sounds, the sights, the warmth of presence, with a tenderness that spoke of centuries of quiet observation. A gentle wind rose, carrying the final echoes of music and laughter through the trees, brushing past rocks and moss, teasing the edges of lantern flames. The mountain felt the collective contentment, the stillness that follows a day well lived, and cradled it in its memory. Every note, every smile, every soft touch like a hand running along a tree. Bark became part of the mountain's enduring song. Even as darkness slowly deepened across the forest, the mountain did not forget. It held the warmth, the gentle rhythm, the subtle glow of life in quiet reverence, as if each memory were a seed planted in stone, destined to bloom whenever it was recalled. In the final moments before night fully arrived, the villagers gathered for one last song, a simple tune sung softly, harmonizing with the whisper of leaves and the gentle hum of wind. Children, now tired but still smiling, joined their voices, adding a faint trill that mingled with the steady, calm rhythm of the mountain itself. The storyteller's soft voice rose once more, telling a quiet ending to the day's tales, words that lingered in the air, brushing softly over stones and moss, over streams and leaves. Even the animals seemed to pause, listening in their own gentle way. A fox curling quietly in the underbrush, a deer resting beside a small pool of water. And now, as the last golden light slips behind distant peaks, the mountain holds the day. Within its heart, the music, the laughter, the warmth of presence, and the tender wonder of small, simple joys. It feels the approaching quiet, a gentle reminder that rest follows celebration, that reflection follows joy, and that even the softest moments leave lasting traces in the memory of the world. The lanterns sway gently in the evening breeze, the flames glowing softly, and the wind carries whispers of songs and laughter into hidden valleys. The mountain listens patiently, knowing that these gentle memories will be called upon again, woven into the slow, steady rhythm of the seasons. As night deepens and stars begin to glimmer above, the mountain senses a new, quieter feeling, a shift toward reflection, introspection, and the peaceful hush that follows a day filled with warmth. The echoes of music and laughter soften into whispers, drifting into the folds of stone and soil, ready to rest alongside the forest, the streams, and the creatures that have wandered the slopes. It is a quiet preparation for a time of contemplation, a slow, steady rhythm that invites the listener to breathe, to settle, and to follow the mountain into the gentle embrace of solitude and calm, where thoughts may drift freely and the world seems even softer, warmer, and more serene. And so, we linger on the edge of this memory, the mountain holding every note, every smile, every gentle touch of life in its patient heart, ready to guide us into the next season of quiet reflection, where stillness and introspection deepen the calm of night. The warmth of the day remains, folded into shadow and starlight, carrying us gently toward a quieter, slower rhythm that whispers of peace and long, restful sleep. And as the first hints of spring touched the tips of moss and the edges of melting streams, the mountain sensed new beginnings on the horizon. The snow had softened, the air carried a gentle warmth, and the streams murmured softly, reflecting early morning light. There was an invitation in this quiet awakening, a gentle nudge to look forward without hurry, to welcome the stories that would soon unfold, and to rest in the patient presence of the mountain that remembers everything. With the night deep and the world hushed, the mountain held its reflections in a slow, unbroken breath. The stars twinkled faintly above, the frozen stream now a soft ripple, and the wind whispered through the forest with gentle, knowing care. Every sensation, every quiet observation, every moment of calm and wonder was preserved, a soft bridge to the future, carrying warmth and stillness together. And in this calm, the mountain prepared for the memories yet to come, knowing that the final chapter would carry the listener gently into a world of enduring presence, quiet closure, and the soft embrace of all that has been lovingly remembered. Silent reflections. A hush settled over the mountain as the first light of dawn touched its peaks, soft and pale like a whispered promise. The slopes were draped in quiet, frosted blankets, and the air carried the faint, crisp scent of winter, slowly loosening its hold. Every branch, every stone, and every patch of moss seemed to hold its own stillness, as if waiting for the world to awaken gently in its own time. The mountain, patient and knowing, breathed in the calm, feeling the slow rhythm of life that never hurried, never pushed, but simply existed in harmony with itself. In these quiet mornings, it could hear the soft crunch of frost beneath hidden rocks, the gentle murmur of a stream barely thawing, and the distant, thoughtful call of an owl drifting across the slopes. The snow lay thick in sheltered hollows, glistening in the pale light like countless tiny crystals. The wind moved slowly over the peaks, barely stirring, carrying the faint taste of cold, clear air. Occasionally, a stray flake would tumble lazily from a high branch, landing on untouched snow below, leaving a small, fleeting indentation that seemed to vanish as if it had never been. The mountain observed these tiny miracles with a quiet satisfaction, noting the delicate balance of ice and stone, of stillness and subtle motion. There was a gentle meditation in this, a calm understanding that every small change mattered, even if it was invisible to those who hurried through life without pause. Fog lingered in low valleys, soft and gray, curling around trees and rocks, folding into itself like quiet thoughts. The mountain embraced this subtle obscurity, sensing its own reflection in the mist, the deep, patient mind of stone and soil that had watched centuries drift past. A frozen stream wound along the base, smooth and silent, reflecting the faint glow of the rising sun. Here and there, the ice quivered in gentle currents, as if even stillness could not resist the whisper of life beneath. Tiny tracks, perhaps left by a fox or a small hare, dotted the snow and vanished quickly under a gentle wind. The mountain remembered each movement, each presence, holding it with care as one might cradle a fragile memory in the palm of the hand. Above, the sky shifted softly from pale pinks to warm golden hues. The mountain observed this slow transformation with a sense of deep patience, feeling the steady heartbeat of time itself. The trees, heavy with frost, seemed to shimmer in response, their branches catching the light in quiet, intricate patterns. A thin layer of ice coated the bark, so delicate that a slight tremor of wind sent it scattering like soft, sparkling rain. In these quiet moments, the mountain considered the cycles it had witnessed countless times, the turning of seasons, the growth and rest of forests, and the ebb and flow of human presence that brushed its slopes briefly, like the softest echo of laughter. Each cycle held its own beauty, its own gentle rhythm, and the mountain understood that there was as much calm in the quiet passing of time as there was in the celebration of life. At the edge of a frozen clearing, a small group of birds flitted carefully between branches, their feathers brushed softly against the frost-laden twigs, and their wings left faint, fleeting impressions in the crisp air. The mountain remembered the gentle joy these small creatures brought to the quiet world, their tiny movements full of life, yet never breaking the calm of the landscape. Even in solitude, the mountain recognized companionship in these delicate presences, soft, unobtrusive, and entirely natural. It remembered the warmth of being alive, even when wrapped in stillness, and the comfort of holding those memories quietly, without hurry or judgment. The wind carried the faintest hints of distant villages, of chimneys, releasing soft curls of smoke that spoke of warmth, hearths, and gentle gatherings. Their presence was distant, respectful, and unhurried, blending seamlessly with the vast, patient calm of the mountain. Occasionally, the echo of a child's laughter, long ago, seemed to drift across the slopes, mingling with the whisper of trees and the hush of falling snow. The mountain remembered these voices as tender companions, small ripples of life that had left traces in the quiet folds of stone and soil. Even in solitude, it could feel the warmth of such connections, understanding that remembering was itself an act of gentle care, a soft, enduring love for all that had passed. As the day slowly advanced, the snow began to soften under the warmth of the sun, tiny rivulets forming as frost melted into clear streams. The mountain observed these gentle transformations, sensing the same patience in the world around it. Ice gave way to water, night gave way to morning, and stillness gave way to quiet movement. The frozen stream began to trickle, a subtle, soothing murmur that spoke of slow progress, of quiet persistence, and of the ongoing flow of life, even in the calmest of places. The mountain felt its own reflections, mingling with this gentle motion, the passing of time mirrored in the streams, the wind, and the soft bending of frosted branches beneath the trees. Moss softened underfoot, damp and fragrant, with the subtle scent of spring preparing to return. Small animals emerged cautiously from their hidden burrows, their tiny paws leaving fleeting prints on softened snow, as if marking the beginning of a new chapter in the quiet world. The mountain remembered their cautious curiosity, the same patience it carried in its own heart, and the soft understanding that every creature, every movement, and every whisper of wind was worthy of attention and care. Even in solitude, life continued, subtle and unhurried, offering calm lessons for those willing to notice. The sky shifted further, turning pale blue with soft streaks of white clouds that moved lazily across the peaks. The mountain felt the warmth of sunlight beginning to seep into stone and soil, melting icy edges and softening the rigid outlines of winter. It was a time of introspection, of deep reflection, and the mountain held these moments gently, remembering not just events, but feelings. The quiet awe of snow-laden mornings, the steady reassurance of star-filled nights, the tender hush of wind through bare branches all became part of its patient, enduring memory. These reflections were not hurried. They lingered like the faint fragrance of distant flowers, subtle and continuous, a soft reminder of life's persistent presence. Evening approached slowly, and the first stars began to twinkle above the peaks. Their soft, distant light seemed to echo the quiet reflections of the day, gentle points of warmth and wonder suspended in a vast, still sky. The mountain watched as frost melted into water, as shadows lengthened across rocks and streams. And as the forest settled into its evening rhythm, the wind carried whispers across the slopes, brushing gently through trees, rustling the last patches of snow, and caressing moss and stone alike. In these moments, the mountain understood the beauty of patience, the value of quiet observation, and the deep love inherent in remembering all that had passed and all that had quietly persisted. A lone owl called softly from a high branch, its voice traveling across the still valley. The mountain listened carefully, noting the gentle echo of its wings through the evening air. The sound seemed to ripple through memory itself, mingling with earlier whispers of laughter, the faint murmur of distant streams, and the quiet rustle of leaves. Each sound was preserved, held without judgment or urgency, carrying a sense of calm reflection that wrapped the world in gentle understanding. Even the smallest noises, the softest moments, were meaningful here, a testament to the quiet, enduring pulse of life. Night settled more fully over the slopes, and the mountain felt the weight and beauty of solitude. The trees, rocks, and streams rested under a silver light. The stars mirrored faintly in still waters. Small creatures slept, huddled beneath branches and rocks, while the mountain held their quiet presence in patient memory. There was no rush, no demand for action, only the deep, enduring satisfaction of being witness to life in all its forms. Even as the world slumbered, the mountain remained attentive, cradling each memory as though it were a gentle gift, soft and unhurried. The snow that had once blanketed the slopes now glistened faintly under the stars. Patches of soft spring grass beginning to appear where the ice had melted. The mountain sensed a slow awakening in the earth, a quiet promise of new stories and gentle discoveries waiting just beyond the horizon. It remembered the joys of laughter, the calm of solitude, the soft hum of wind over stone, and the subtle movements of animals and humans alike. Each of these memories was a form of love, a gentle care for all that had passed, preserved without urgency, without expectation, and without judgment. As night deepened, the mountain's reflections broadened to include the cycles of life it had observed for centuries. Trees would bloom and rest, rivers would swell and shrink, and humans would wander and return. Each moment, whether filled with music, laughter, or silence, became part of the mountain's enduring memory. It understood that quiet observation was a form of gentle wisdom, and that holding moments with care was a form of love as steady and lasting as the stone itself. The mountain felt the weight of its own patient heart, carrying joy and sorrow, celebration and stillness, all interwoven into a soft, enduring rhythm. Stars glimmer more brightly now, and the moon rises, casting a silvery glow across the forest, streams, and rocks. The traveler rests, eyes closed, breathing in the serene rhythm of the mountain, his presence merging with the quiet pulse of the land. The mountain cradles him gently in its memory, just as it cradles centuries of life, laughter, music, and solitude. Each heartbeat of the traveler blends seamlessly with the enduring heart of stone and soil, a soft reminder that life's quiet rhythms are constant, patient, and safe. As the night reaches its calmest point, the mountain reflects on all it has held: the joy, the laughter, the solitude, the gentle presence of creatures and people, the music and stories, the snow and the frost, the wind and sunlight. All are threads in a tapestry woven carefully over countless seasons, each one a note in a quiet song of continuity. There is no hurry, no need for change, only the soft reassurance that being is enough, and that all moments are preserved in the gentle heart of the mountain. The traveler rises slowly, casting one last glance across the slopes. His shadow stretches, long and soft in the moonlight, blending with the dark shapes of trees and rocks. The mountain senses a final, quiet connection, a shared awareness of being, of watching, of remembering. It holds this moment gently, preparing to release it into the ongoing rhythm of night, a tender closing note in the mountain's enduring song. The stars twinkle faintly, the wind whispers through branches, and the mountain stands steadfast and serene. Every memory, every echo, every heartbeat and breath is safely held within its vast, patient heart. And as the night stretches over the forest and the slopes, the mountain seems to murmur softly, not in words, but in presence, a gentle good night, an invitation to rest, a reminder that the world listens, remembers, and holds all that is tender and true. Here, in the embrace of stone, soil, and sky, the listener may close their eyes, letting dreams drift gently like leaves on the wind, carried by the enduring calm of a mountain that remembers everything and watches everlastingly. Everlasting watch. The mountain stands tall, its peaks catching the first rays of morning light, brushing them across the slopes like a soft, golden veil. The wind moves slowly through the trees, carrying the faint fragrance of pine and the gentle whisper of leaves, swaying in quiet rhythm. Every stone, every crevice, every patch of moss seems to hum with its own steady pulse, as if the mountain itself is breathing. It has held countless seasons within its folds, the laughter of children chasing butterflies, the soft hum of village songs, the delicate hush of snowfall, and the quiet wonder of starry nights. Each memory is a thread woven into its being, a part of the slow, enduring heartbeat that flows beneath its surface. Today, in this serene moment, the mountain rests within itself, aware of the living tapestry it has gathered over countless years. A lone traveler moves along one of the winding paths, steps, careful but unhurried, his boots pressed lightly against the earth, brushing fallen leaves and soft moss as he pauses occasionally to lean against a rock and breathe in the stillness around him. The mountain notices the gentle tilt of his head, the soft rise and fall of his chest, and the way his eyes trace the curves of the hills, as if seeing not just the landscape, but the quiet stories held within it. The air around him shivers with calm energy, carrying tiny sounds, the distant trickle of a stream, the rustle of pine needles, the faint cry of a hawk gliding far above. The mountain absorbs these moments fully, remembering the presence of someone who moves slowly, listening with care, and blending seamlessly with the calm rhythm of its slopes. Sunlight filters between branches, scattering patterns of gold and green across the forest floor. Moss glows faintly where the light touches, and the gentle sway of ferns and tall grasses keeps pace with the wind. A fox peeks from behind a tree, its tail flicking softly as it watches the traveler, then slips quietly into the shadows. A deer pauses at a distant stream, lifting its head with careful curiosity before resuming its slow, deliberate drinking. The mountain remembers all these movements not as a record of events, but as the gentle flow of life itself, each detail a note in an ongoing, unhurried song. The presence of these creatures, the rhythm of their small, deliberate actions, and the serenity they bring is part of the mountain's enduring embrace. As essential as the rock beneath the traveler's feet, the wind shifts, carrying the faintest echoes of voices long gone, soft laughter of children from a sunlit afternoon, the warm hum of a storyteller's tale, the gentle strum of a lyre at a village festival. These sounds blend with the murmur of streams and the quiet rustle of leaves, a chorus that stretches across centuries, yet feels immediate in its calmness. The mountain listens without judgment, holding each echo like a small flame glowing steadily in the heart of the forest. Each memory is cherished, neither hurried nor diminished, simply present as part of the mountain's vast awareness. The mountain understands that life's rhythm is not in rushing forward, but in holding, feeling, and observing, in letting moments breathe and linger long enough to be fully remembered. High on a sun-warmed ridge, the traveler pauses again, kneeling to touch the rough texture of a stone. Fingers trace its grooves gently, connecting with the weight of years pressed silently into its surface. The mountain feels this quiet curiosity, this mindful attention, and reflects it back softly. The stone beneath the traveler's hands has witnessed countless moments, animals wandering, snow falling, songs drifting through the air, and now it shares a gentle connection with this new presence. It is a reminder that every touch, every pause, every quiet breath is part of an ongoing story, held tenderly in the mountain's enduring memory. Birds call softly from branches overhead, their notes precise and delicate, a counterpoint to the whisper of the wind and the distant ripple of water. A small stream threads between rocks, the surface smooth and shimmering in the light, reflecting the sky above in soft blues and silvers. The traveler leans back against a tree, closing his eyes for a moment, listening to the rhythm of the mountain. He feels a steady calm, a sense that time stretches and bends in the embrace of this quiet place. The mountain holds him in that calm, absorbing the sense of trust, of surrender to the moment, and weaving it into its own patient awareness. Every sound, every breath, every flicker of light becomes part of a tapestry stitched into stone and soil, a gentle record of life's soft continuity. The mountain remembers more than sounds and sights. It remembers the quiet energy of presence. It remembers the joy of shared music on golden autumn afternoons, the tender hush of snowfall on still slopes, and the soft glow of lanterns swaying in evening breezes. It holds the warmth of human touch, the laughter of children, and the small gestures of care between friends. Even solitude is remembered not as emptiness, but as a full, living quiet that teaches patience, attentiveness, and reflection. The mountain knows that these moments, both shared and alone, form a gentle mosaic of experience, one that cradles every visitor, every creature, every leaf, and every stone within the comfort of continuity. As daylight moves slowly across the slopes, shadows lengthen and soften, stretching across moss-covered rocks and trickling streams. The traveler rises and walks along the ridge, his movements unhurried, blending into the contours of the mountain as naturally as the wind or the drifting clouds. The mountain feels the rhythm of his steps, the rise and fall of his shoulders, the calm focus in his gaze. It remembers the small details, the way sunlight catches his hair, the careful placement of his boots, the quiet exhale that accompanies each pause. These moments are gentle, grounding, and enduring, a reminder that every presence, no matter how brief, leaves a trace in the living heart of the mountain. Evening approaches, and the golden light softens into warm amber and pale rose. Lanterns, perhaps long carried from earlier celebrations, glow faintly in hidden clearings, flickering softly with the wind. The forest responds, brushing leaves against one another in a slow, delicate whisper. Streams glint in the last sunlight, their ripples reflecting the slow drift of clouds across the sky. Animals settle into their nests and burrows, each movement careful, measured, a gentle nod to the patience the mountain has cultivated for centuries. The mountain holds these moments as a quiet blessing, a testament to the slow, steady continuity of life, and a reminder that all is well when simply being is enough. Stars begin to appear in the sky, small points of silver and gold piercing the deepening blue. The mountain watches them rise with a calm sense of wonder, as if each one mirrors the memories it holds. The soft hush of the night carries stories, melodies, and laughter across the slopes, merging seamlessly with the present. Movement of the traveler, the rustle of leaves, and the delicate trickle of water over stones. Time stretches, not hurried, not pressing, simply flowing in a slow, enduring rhythm. The mountain feels itself as both witness and guardian, a presence that embraces all that has passed, all that is present, and all that is quietly emerging. The traveler pauses once more, leaning against a stone at the edge of a ridge, gazing across the forested slopes. His breath rises and falls in gentle rhythm, eyes tracing the contours of valleys and streams, rocks and trees. The mountain senses the quiet awe in his mind, the calm reflection that comes when someone is fully present in the world without needing to move or change it. It responds with its own awareness, sending warmth through the stones, a subtle reminder that all is held, all is remembered, and all is safe within this enduring, patient heart. The wind picks up gently, carrying faint whispers of previous seasons, the laughter of children, the soft strum of festival instruments, the hush of snowfall, and the quiet glow of lanterns. These echoes blend with the sounds of the present. The streams ripple, the wind through branches, the careful footsteps of a traveler. The mountain holds them together in a calm, meditative presence, knowing that each moment, whether past or now, contributes to the living tapestry that stretches across centuries. Here, nothing is lost, nothing is hurried, and everything is gently preserved in the quiet memory of stone, soil, and sunlight. Night deepens further, and the forest below is swathed in silver moonlight. Shadows stretch across rocks and trees, glimmering faintly on moss and water. The traveler sits quietly, leaning against a gentle slope, absorbing the calm of the mountain as it absorbs him. The mountain holds this moment, reflecting on every memory it has gathered. The gentle music of festivals, the hush of snowfall, the laughter of children, the soft songs of birds and insects, the quiet presence of travelers. All of these threads form a pattern that is patient, enduring, and tender, a reminder that life is not in hurry, but in the gentle, unbroken continuity of being. The wind stirs softly, brushing through leaves and around rocks, carrying the faint scent of earth, moss, and distant pine. The mountain feels the pulse of the world, slow, deliberate, steady. Even as night wraps the slopes in calm, there is a quiet assurance that time continues. Life continues, and all moments, whether bright or soft, are safely held. The mountain does not need to act or change. It simply is, and in being, it offers a gentle embrace to everything under its watch. Thank you for resting with me tonight. May the mountain's calm presence linger with you as you drift to sleep. Remember, every gentle moment is held in quiet memory. Let dreams carry you softly through forests, streams, and starlit peaks. Good night, and may your heart be as patient and serene as the mountain itself.